Okay, so let's have a look at our industry. Now, entertainment industry is quite huge. It's very, very big. And probably you know a lot of companies which deal with that sector or another sector. All of them, they're in the entertainment industry, but it has dozens sectors, okay, quite a lot of sectors. And if you try to look at them, some of them, they're just distribution channels, networks. So it could be radio, satellite, cable TV, digital TV, cinemas. Now more and more like go for digital channels which they develop as well. And then it could be content production. So this is distributors that content production. So they produce movies, cartoons, TV shows, and like all other aspects, whatever production is. It could be entertainment parks, cruises, hotels, casinos, whatever possible to entertain people in certain areas. And also it could be licensing, very big thing about that. And of course, if we look at like in company in entertainment industry, we'll discover that even though they're in the same industry, but their business could be very different. Okay, very, very different. And when you analyze a company, you have to take into consideration what kind of business they're doing. Because if you look at value line industry rank, they will have all the same. But what do you think if the recession starts? What kind of business will suffer more? Cruises, like if cruise liners, or would say cable TV? Where people will turn off? What kind of businesses probably will suffer the most? Cruises, sure, yeah, of course, cruises, because people will probably still buying pizza and watch movies at home, but most likely they will cut on going like cruising, you know. So that's kind of thing. So some of them definitely will suffer, and also probably parks. I remember I went to a couple parks. I was in Spain, in Madrid, in one of the parks, not Disneyland Park, but another park, but they're kind of similar, Warner Brothers. And I was in Madrid, and Universal Studios, I went in Orlando, Florida. And I'll tell you, the prices were at that stage $120 US dollars for one day. And one day is not enough to visit the park. At least you have to have whole weekend, if not more than weekend. And majority of families, if they go to Orlando for holidays, they actually buy a week pass, and they go every day in order to see. Because I even didn't attend like maybe at 25% of what was represented there. So, and kids wanted everything. So if parents come for holidays there, so believe me, if 120 bucks a ticket and you have 5 kids, not like 3 kids and 2 adults, so you spend like 500 bucks a day. So they do make a lot of money. I don't know, did you guys ever go to any these entertainment parks? Have you tried them? It's quite interesting, especially for kids, I presume. And also they have all sorts of other offers which they kind of trying to sell. Yeah, Gina, of course, you probably in Paris, right, Gina? You went. So yeah, sure, kind of. So yeah, so you know that like Disney is very popular at the Disneyland. Okay, no, in Hong Kong. That's fantastic. All right, another thing about this particular industry is that it has huge barriers to enter for new businesses. Imagine if you decided to produce a movie. You have to spend so much money before you even know if you're going to generate any money or not. Because you have to hire actors, you have to hire all this equipment, do all the special effects, to spend sometimes millions and millions and millions of dollars, right, before you produce any content. And then you even don't know if you're going to sell it or not. Because maybe distribution channels won't accept it until they see it. They say, I don't like it, that's it. Or maybe they will accept it, but customers, for whatever reason, won't accept it. So quite a lot of companies, they are created and then they just go bust after trying to build up the first movie at all. So that's why for those companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, like all other big movie producers, they are quite have a quite strong position because they know the new entrants, new entry companies quite difficult to get it. Helps to have been around. Yeah, of course, of course. Like it always helps to be around. And remember that Warren Buffett, what he says, buy the brand, right? So when you're choosing which movie to go and see, and you see Disney, and then you see whatever movie is there, Moscow film, okay, and you have never heard what's the Moscow film, right? You say, okay, I don't want to go there. I would rather go to Disney. So, and even maybe that movie was fantastic, but because you don't know who was the producer of that movie, so probably you will just don't bother even to go there. Okay, so that's another thing. Another one is a high level of financial requirements to run the business. And I explain it because imagine in order to have this Disney park or like entertainment park, it doesn't really matter if you have customers or you don't have customers, you still have to run it. Or if you have a cruise ship, you still have to run it, maintain it, and it doesn't really matter if you have clients there or not. You might have only one customer, right? But you still have to have all these expenses which are there, right? If you're a cinema, it doesn't really matter how many people come to your cinema, but still you have to show this movie. It's very funny because sometimes once I went to Hurstville, I decided to go to Hurstville. I thought, okay, it's closer, and I'm going to see that movie. And it came, and it was only one person in the room. It's me. That's it. So, and they still had to show me the movie. And I thought, how do they make money? And I'm just really curious because, like, I mean, several cinemas and a couple of people in each movie. So how are they going to generate this income? So yeah, it's quite high level of expenses. Another one, you probably know that it's very fast changing business environment, okay, and it requires dynamic culture. Now you don't have a chance to be kind of, so relaxed and pull back. No, so you have to constantly move with a technology, with the new effects, with the new ideas, and etc., etc., etc. So now very popular sci-fi movies and stuff like that. So you have to create all the special effects, and if you don't do it, people very quickly to switch to another company in another movies. So that's, and also you have to create all these extra technologies. Now, majority of companies, actually, one of the biggest problems for Disney right now, and not only for Disney, but for CBS and for Fox Media, and that's Netflix, right? So because they kind of as feared as Amazon for retailers, Netflix is feared for other, because they're kind of switching now to other subscribers to their channels, and they practically don't make money, but they keep running and kind of acquiring new databases, and then they can increase prices anytime they want. So that's why it's quite important to keep an eye on what is happening around you, and you have to follow the trend and new technology. Now, another one important stuff here, it's probably similar to pharmacists. These companies, they growing by mergers and acquisitions. And more companies right now, they are not expanding geographically, because when you looked at pharmacies, remember, they also growing by mergers and acquisitions, but they're kind of growing geographically. So they go to another area, they buy new pharmacies or buy shops, etc., etc. Here, they're integrating like deep into channels. So if company were movie producers, so they start going where they, for example, buy some cartoon producers, they start buying that one, or they buy TV show, or they buy distribution network, a network of cinemas, or like cable TV or whatever. So they kind of trying to integrate, because in this case they save a lot of, like that's, for example, Mona or Ian wrote that also Netflix is making all movies. I'm not surprised, because it makes sense for them, because they have a distribution network. Why not to go deep into channel and start producing content? That makes sense, rather than to buy it from other producers, right? And they're trying to compete on another level. So this is kind of area. So when you're analyzing the company, look at this. And actually, because they growing through mergers and acquisitions, what do you think about their book value and tangible book value? Will it have a difference between book value and like tangible book value and intangible book value? So you probably understand that the companies like that, they have a lot of goodwill in it. Okay, and that's why if the company is small, you have to definitely take care about that. Now, if you look at industry in value line, you will see that Disney, it's one of the biggest company in that particular industry. Another is company which I recommend you to have a look at, Foxa. It's also pretty 21st century, and another CBS media. So TWX is right now quite high in price, but Foxa and CBS, they have support as well. So, but definitely look at fundamentals, look at if you like them or not, and then already start analyzing. When I saw this chart, I could see that Next Star Media has timeliness rank 1. Couple companies have timeliness rank 2. So you might want to have a look at them as well. So if you just before you put any money in any of these companies, just try to understand about these businesses as much as you can. Okay, look at the same like Amazon and Hulu and few others. That's sure. Han, do the colors mean something, or are they just to allow easier differentiation? I think that shows what was happening. Was it growing in price or going down in price? So that's kind of like that. So whoever lost, and I'm not completely sure if it's what time duration is that, 1 day or several days. I'm not sure, a week maybe or a month. So I never actually paid attention to this color thing.